Hey Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It is April 23rd still. I already did one video post today. In this one, I want to go into greater detail about our education system and what I think has purposefully been done to us. Before I get into the gematria and numerology, I just want to bring up something. It is the anniversary date of the first public school, April 23rd, 1635, which was in Massachusetts. And this is about the same time the Victorian model of education began that is still in place today, that has us all learning through rote, an ineffective way, a method that makes people hate learning and turn off educating themselves. There is a TED Talk that is worth watching. It's by this man who goes by Sir Ken Robinson. He talks about, all the ills of our education system and how it teaches us to forget about how to use our bodies and how to think inside of a box. It's, of all time, I think it's my favorite TED Talk. But be careful, there's a lot of propaganda on TED Talks too. But his criticism of the education system is spot on. And he points out about how old it is. Why are we still following this old method of education at this day and age? And what's sad is he gave this TED Talk, I've lost track of time myself, about 5 years ago at least. And in that 5 years, public education has remained as archaic as ever. So there's a very good reason for our education system being archaic and repetitive and redundant. Think about the sea of zombies we live in. Who do you think made these people into zombies? It was this same education system that had us get up too early in the morning and cram through too much stuff we didn't need to know about while neglecting all the realities of the day. Think about school and how little it taught you to apply the skills you actually learned to your own life. That's why so many people tune out in school. They get sick of doing all this stuff that has nothing to do with the world they're living in. For me personally, that's why I always liked numbers and writing, because those were things I learned in school that I could apply. The rest of it was almost all forgettable. And what I want to get into from here is the numerological evidence that supports the sickness I have always seen as a student growing up and as a teacher. I've taught in public and private school. And both experiences from both perspectives were very eye-opening for me. I also want to point out that as a second grader truth seeker, and this is probably true for so many of you listening, some of the things that have stuck with us the most from school are the bad things that happened to us. In second grade, I transferred schools. And at the new school, I was now in a long row of portables on a concrete block, and with a teacher who seemed to hate her students, including me. And in my years prior, I can still remember my kindergarten and first grade teachers, Mrs. Jenny and Mrs. Bird. Both very nice women that made me want to go to school. I enjoyed school in kindergarten and first grade. In second grade, I had a teacher that really brought my spirits down. And I can tell you 3 things in hindsight that I remember about that teacher. I was 7 years old in second grade. I'm 31 today. The first thing was that within the first week of class, she told me, up close, she told me I smelled bad and I needed to wash better. Which to me was upsetting because I knew as a kid I did bathe and I'd never had anybody tell me I smelled bad before. And I just, as a young child, I remember it hurt my feelings. The other 2 things I remember from her class are questions I asked and the way she responded. It was the first classroom I had been in that showed a map of the world. And so it was the first time I was getting used to looking at this image of the map of the world. And during the year, I asked the teacher, I said, at one time, did all the land, I didn't ask it probably this well, but the way I was trying to explain it was all the land of the world, did it used to fit together? And at the moment she scolded me and told me that was off topic and of course not, a silly question. Well, it was a few years later in school we learned about Pangea and how the world used to be completely connected and broke apart. And I remembered when I first learned it that I had just asked that question years earlier, and a teacher had scolded me for asking about it, saying I was wrong and it was a silly question. Now here I am in school learning that this is the way it used to be. And I thought right away, aha, look, this means maybe the people teaching me don't even know what they're talking about, you know? Starting to clue in. 4th, 5th grade. Another thing I remember from her class is I asked her why we needed money. Because on my mind at the time was all this stuff about money. I realized my parents would fight a lot, and what they'd be fighting over were money issues. So what I was learning, what I was picking up in the world is this money was causing problems. So I wanted to ask my teacher why we needed money, because I had in my imagination a world without money. And from what I knew about the world, I knew other people lived, like Native Americans who didn't live with money. But at the time, she also acted like that was a ridiculous question and said people weren't motivated without money. That's why we needed money, to make people go to work and stuff. She explained it like that. But, my point is she didn't reward me for asking intelligent questions. She kind of made me feel bad and silly. And I know what happened to me happened to millions and millions of other people who have gone through this education system. We get humiliated by teachers who like to be in positions of authority. We get taught stuff that's wrong. We learn conformity from the way, just the pressures come from your peer population. So anyway, the way the school system's set up, it's a disaster and it's completely unintentional, and I believe it's a major part of the foundation of what creates the zombie-like masses that we bear witness to every day. And for many of us that we were once part of, but have now awakened from. Other people can wake up because we are the evidence. We have woken up ourselves. So that said, I want to get into the numerology and gematria of our education system. I'm going to connect this to Ivy League schools and the original universities of the world, which are Oxford and Cambridge, but even before that was the university at the Vatican. The concept of the college and the university comes from the Vatican, where in my research on this numerology and gematria, the oldest evidence I've traced back all goes to the Catholic Church too. So the Catholic Church, in all seriousness, seems to have very much to do with everything that is in this coding. And I'm sure it predates them as well. All right, let's get into it. So, Boston Latin School was established in Massachusetts, and I think that is part of the coding here. Why? Because it's the number 33. And in numerology, 33 is the master teacher number. 33 is the master teacher number in numerology. With Pythagorean gematria, teacher sums to 33. And so does the state Massachusetts. Only 3 states do. The first state, Delaware, which also has a 33 establishment date, and the 50th and final state, Hawaii, as well as the 6th state, Massachusetts. And the numerology of 33 is 3 plus 3 equals 6. Massachusetts is the 6th state. Only 3 states sum to 33. This school was called the Boston Latin School. The acronym BLS is 2 plus 12 plus 19 equals 33. Boston has something in common with the word student. They both have Pythagorean gematria of 22 and 31 with the S exception. Boston Latin School sums to 69 and 78 and 87 with S exceptions. And recall, the school's on 78th Avenue, Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur sums to 50, like the 50 states of America. 78 is the speed that a record spins at. And think about ourselves in school and spinning records. Can you make an analogy in your mind? I bet you can. With regards to teacher and student, I'm asserting that this whole school system was dreamt up by Freemasons with Masonic principles. The ranging degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry are 31 through 33. Student produces the gematria of 22 and 31, and teacher 33. Today's date, gematria, sums to 222, which we'll get into later. There's a television show from history that has to do with public school classrooms and this number. And also, True Seeker, what I wanted to point out is that the numerology of the date of establishment, 4/23/35, sums to 62. And if you add the 16 from the date, also acceptable, it sums to 78. Let's go back here and look again. This school is ranked the 62nd best high school in the nation to attend. The word Mason equals 62. Date establishment of 62, ranked 62nd best high school. Ha ha. And the other way, it summed to 78, like the address, like the speed a record spins at, as I just said. So again, April 23rd is the 113th day of the year, another important number that we're going to talk about, as well as 311, the reflection of 113. In Jewish gematria, the word kids equals 113. Education is largely about training kids for this world we live in. Think about what happened to us in school. We learned to tolerate lots of bullshit and do lots of paperwork. Now think about most of you what you do for a living. You probably put up with lots of bullshit. You probably put up with lots of authority. And you probably have to write out all sorts of bullshit because every job in this world has been turned into a paper nightmare to keep us all occupied with nonsense. This world is flowing on nonsense. It isn't just our media. It's become our own daily lives. I also want to point out that Big Bird in Jewish gematria sums to 113. Bird's also a 33 word with simple English gematria. And gate is another 113. And think about education. It is largely a gate for many. It's hard for a lot of people to get by in this world without making it through the education system. That isn't true for all. We'll call those people fence jumpers. So it started on the 113th day of the year. I want to point out that the word the beast equals 311, just like Rhode Island. And why do I bring up Rhode Island? Because that's where the first Ivy League school was established, Brown University. Brown University, Pythagorean gematria, sums to 81. I bring that up because the year it was established in, 1764, has a numerology of 81 when you apply 17 plus 64. That's a fair method in numerology. And then the word wizard equals 81. I did a video post on the Wizard of Oz and how it's a reflection of the United States and the world we live in. The Banker Nightmare. Good post if you want to check it out. But also think about more recent history and the Harry Potter series, and about wizardry and how it's intertwined with education and kids at school. I think this popular fiction's a retelling of the way the world is working on a parallel plane, if you will. The Ivy League schools trace back to Cambridge and Oxford. Oxford is the oldest college in the world. O, X, and F are all letters with Pythagorean gematria of 6. So all O, X, F, O becomes 4 6s and then a 94. Columbia University, which is the second oldest college, Ivy League school in the United States, sums to 94. It just makes me wonder because it ends with this 9-4 ending, a reflection of the number 49, another number of importance because the number 666 is mentioned in Revelation, and Revelation equals 49. So there's another numerological deeper coding here. Out of Oxford came the Rhodes Scholarship, the most prestigious scholarship in the world. Think about how we just talked about Rhode Island, where the first Ivy League school is. Rhodes Scholarship, named after Rhodes, who oversaw the diamond trade in Africa. Diamond's a 33 word. These universities, Truth Seeker, they're just full of it. 8 of the Ivy League schools in this nation were established in the colonial period. The 9th, Cornell, was established April 27th, 1865. This is a date with numerology of 33 and 96, like Freemason in their highest degree. This is the 9th Ivy League school, Truth Seeker. The word Satanism also equals 96, just like Freemason. And look at where most of our elites go in this world. Not just Americans. Government officials all over the world have attended the American Ivy League schools. I think in some of these classrooms, some really dark stuff is being taught. Some serious elitism, which we experience, we the masses. Cambridge, Massachusetts is also home to an Ivy League school here. So we see all this coding with the schools, the 33, the master teacher number, how it fits in with the public school. Think about one of the main things we learn in school, the alphabetic order, numbers. But an important thing we learn is spelling. Think about spelling and just think about the word spell in general. When you learn to spell, one of the most important words you use and learn right away because you write it so much is the. Look at the gematria of the, Truth Seeker. In Jewish gematria, it is 113. In simple English gematria, it's 33. And we call it spelling. Spelling. What I've been asking myself, and I'm still asking myself because I am not convinced at all, is the practice of coding these numbers into these words, is it having a subconscious and psychological impact on us? Is it altering the way we think and how we're persuaded and what different words do to us? I don't know if this is true or not, but let me tell you something that happened to me yesterday. Yesterday, I was selling something online, and a woman was supposed to come and pick it up at 10 a.m. She didn't show up at 10. She texted me about 10:30 and said she was running late. She'd be by at noon instead. At noon, she didn't show up. She came by about 12:40. She was running late again, but this time she came. And what she needed to pick up would not fit in her car, and not by a long shot. I was surprised that she showed up with such a small vehicle for what she needed to pick up. And what she told me is, what she said is, I'm really sorry, I'm just too busy today. I have 47 things going on, she said. And I just got a grin on my face, and I said, this might sound really funny, but I just have to ask you. I said, is there a reason you said you have 47 things going on today? Do you really have 47 things going on? She goes, no, I just meant I have a lot going on. I don't know why I used the number 47. And I said, well, you know what? I just want to let you know something because I have a theory on why you just use number 47. And what I could see that you cannot see right now, Truth Seeker, is I could see the back of her car, which was in my driveway, and it was all decked out with Christian bumper stickers and Jesus Love bumper stickers. And I told her that there's this practice of coding numbers into words, and number 47 was very important. So I told her how beauty's 74, beast is 47, fruit is 74, candy is 47, jury's 74, judge is 47, gavel's 47, authority's 47, obeys 47. And she got this look on her face, but she was interested. She goes, oh, wow, I'm glad you told me that. I never knew that. I said, yeah, I just see all the Christian stickers too, and I want to let you know that the word Christian is 47. And she immediately asked the right question. She said, oh, really? What's Jesus? And then I told her about Jesus and cross. She thought it was all really interesting. But the point is this is a very important part of her life. I mean, the back of her car expressed how into Christianity she was, and the word Christian equals 47. Out of her mouth came, I have 47 things to do today. And also she said it to me, and I've already admitted several times that I keep having this strange connection to 47. So maybe even her and I interacting, I made her more likely to say that. You know what I mean, Truth Seeker? The reason I'm telling you this story is because I keep picking up on these real-world examples and seeing how this applies to what I'm learning. Because there's obviously something at work. I don't want to say I know just how it works, but what I'm observing I know is very real, and there is obviously an explanation behind it. So, in sharing this, I hope you're getting more of the message. Oh, look, it's 2:22 right now. The message is, we have been lied to. We have been programmed. The masses who are asleep because of what has been done to them. So we who are awake owe it to ourselves to wake them up. Because until they're awake, we're doomed too. Another 33 word I want to share is nervous. Nervous has a Pythagorean gematria of 33. And my theory about humanity is that we are a nervous system. We're all interconnected. But right now, at this moment in history, we've been divided and manipulated and turned against each other. So we're a nervous system that is out of sorts. And one of my goals as a people is to find a commonality that can truly bring us all together, to expose what has been done to all of us. We need a common ground. We need to begin working together. We need to change the way we are. And a major part of that change has to be abandoning this education system that is placed. I'm all for education. I'm all for doing the right thing for children. I'm all for making, helping make kids into model human beings who are good for the communities and people they encounter. And I think everyone at the end of the day is for this. But how we do that is where the division comes. It's a bigger topic, Truth Seeker. I hope you learned something in this post. I'll be doing more posts on this very important topic. I'm surprised I haven't done more on education yet. Maybe it's because it's so close to home. I used to be a teacher, Truth Seeker. And in a way, I still am. I'm always looking to teach people, and in a lot of ways, this video post is me teaching. And as I showed in the last video post, the very first YouTube video ever uploaded was uploaded today, 10 years ago, April 23rd, the 113th day, 2005. So who knows, maybe all this time, the ideal classroom was the YouTube. All right, Truth Seeker. Until next Encore, Truth Seeker. I forgot one last important point. The date the public education system began, April 23rd, has a gematria of 222 in simple English. From our own television history, the TV show Room 222 was about our very own public education system. And the numerology within it is very curious. Let's examine. So we know what April 23rd, the beginning of public education, has to do with 222. This show's about public education. It's called Room 222. It's on TV. T is the 20th letter. In numerology, 2 plus 0 becomes 2. V is the 22nd letter. You do not have to reduce multiples of 11, 11, 22, 33, 44, and so on. So 222 or 222 TV can become. Also, T is the 20th letter, V is the 22nd. Add these two together, you get 42, the meaning of life number. Now look at when this show debuted. It debuted September 17th, 1969, a date with 42 numerology. And it ended on January 11th, 1974, a date with 24 numerology. If we took the date 4/23 that the school opened in Boston, it also had a numerology of 24 with the single-digit method, 62 with the larger method. And this show was on Fox. Fox has those 666 letters like we found at Oxford. Very curious stuff, Truth Seeker. Endless coding, even in the retellings that are told on TV. All right, until